We have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity.
We know the air is unfit to breathe and our food is unfit to eat. As if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy.
Silence! The great and powerful Oz knows why you have come.
You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
You have meddled with the primal forces of nature.
Don't give yourselves to brutes, men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, or what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men with machine minds and machine hearts.
With Jason Bermas.
And who loves you? And who do you love?
Good morning, everybody. It's funny. Let's bring this down just a little bit, just a hair. So, and see, look, there's my studio. There's the green screen. Should have done this beforehand. Had a lot going on. My garage door wasn't closing this morning. And then, obviously, at 7 a.m., even though the kids are supposed to be at school like at 7:45 or whatever, the one is even earlier than that. There we go. That's what we wanted. And my niece is texting me that I scared her and woke her up when I was messing with the garage this morning at 7 a.m. I'm like, you're supposed to be at school 45 minutes later. Why am I waking you up at 7 a.m.? I know, first world problems. Going back and forth with her. And then there's this weird bug going on, I guess, on YouTube. Shout out to Elijah. It says I have 3.6 thousand thumbs up. I don't have 36 thumbs up. I don't think 36. We're at 35 people watching right now live with the awesome YouTube algorithm. Love to get the 3.6 thousand thumbs up. If it was a fair process, I think that we would be there. It is not a fair process. And, I mean, that's just the way the cookie crumbles, right? I'm not sitting here trying to cry to you about that non-fair process. I was getting videos together, and I was texting with my landlord. Apparently, the people are going to come over to fix it in a little bit when I'm off air. So now I'm all flustered. And, I was going to talk Dana White. I was going to talk Theo Vaughn. And, Theo Vaughn is, like, knocking it out of the park lately. I've always... thought Theo was kind of funny, kind of fell into comedy. For those that don't know, Theo Vaughn was on, what was it, like Road Rules back in the day, the offshoot, kind of like adventure show of The Real World. And in my generation, like, there are marathons of it. People actually cared. They watched it. It did get watered down. But many, many years later, he gets into comedy and... essentially gets kind of like put into the Rogan group, I guess you could say, that so many have had just an abundance of success from that group. And that's what's awesome about Rogan is that truly he is an incubator. And you want that incubator, especially when we're talking about culture and laughter and comedy. So many people are just willing to... dismiss somebody and their ideas because they may be wrong on a certain position, or they give time to somebody, or they're with somebody, right? Like, I hear all these criticisms of RFK Jr. and his wife, Cheryl Hines. Now, some of that's valid, 100%. But the bottom line is, I can tell you from experience, you're not gonna... in most cases, you are not going to align with your significant other, partner, wife, spouse, husband, whatever, on every issue. That's just ridiculous. Now, you may have a way of compromising, or an established order of how things are kind of done when the situations get sticky. But I shouldn't also be beholden to every idea or ideal that, that person is aligned with. Period. That's shouldn't. But that's always a criticism. It's always out there. I hear it all the time. Now, with Dana White and Theo Vaughn, right? Vaughn had Tucker Carlson on. It was a very weird, awkward interview, but very entertaining, and a lot to do with the human self and kicking ass and taking names and taking accountability for your actions. I think that's why I liked it the most. A week or so ago, we played the clip of Dana White talking about how essentially he's done with doctors unless he gets in a car accident. Now, for those of you guys that have been following me for a very, very long time, I know there is a time and a place to be diagnosed. You want to be there if you're in a car accident. You want to be there if you have physical, immediate trauma. Now, if there's some kind of an ailment that you need diagnosed, you want to be there. Okay? But as soon as it starts getting down to, we got this pill for you, and we got this cocktail for you, whoa, buddy. And, White went out and talked to this human biologist. And these guys are a by-the-books numbers kind of guys. And when you look at these people, all of them, because again, we follow transhumanism in here. They'll tell you there is, supplementation's big, but there is no substitute for actual physical exercise and labor. There just isn't. So, first of all, Dana was probably put on a regimen of everything, but, food-wise and then exercise-wise, the guys never looked like this. And believe me, there were a few bulky eras, etc. Okay. Now, Dana on this Theo Vaughn thing, not only do they even reflect at the end how you got to go out there and get after it, and it's up to you. You're the eye of the tiger. You can't be blaming other people. I like that. But the political stuff is amazing. And what is really done that caught my eye, because I'd seen the clip, okay, and I hadn't played the clip yet, okay, where he was talking about, I'm going to vote one way, and that's fine, but I'm never going to cow down to sponsors. And I was like, yeah, good for you. Well, I didn't realize that later on they actually named the sponsor, because in the little clip, Theo Vaughn says that he doesn't remember, but then he brings up Peloton, which Dana White and the UFC have done business with. I remember Michael Bisping shilling for Peloton, especially. So during the podcast, he pulls in one of the assistants and he tells him, we're taking all the Pelotons out because this dude, his name was like, what was it? Dennis McCarthy. Let's see if we can find it. Dennis McCarthy. And yeah, no, that's not it. It's going to be, maybe it's Kevin McCarthy, Peloton. Yes, it's Dennis McCarthy. So Paradigm Group, let's see his name. This guy right here. And they talked about how he looks like Tim Cook. And he does look a little Tim Cookish. X. Oh, this is John Foley won't be scaling back roll. Is that, no, that's not, I don't think that's him. Because that's what he looked like yesterday. Man, it's all of a sudden tough to get a picture of Dennis McCarthy. Yeah, and you get this guy. Maybe it's not Dennis. Maybe it's Kevin. Man, nope. Guys, it's an early one for Jason. Not really. I've been up, but not the smoothest today. I'll tell you that. But I can still use the thumbs up, the subscribing, and the sharing. Anyway, a lot of these clips I'm kind of worried about in the first hour. We'll be able to play him in the second hour because you just never know. I'm not saying Theo Vaughn so far. I haven't seen him come after me like a mongrel or anybody else via copyright stuff. But I know that the UFC is just forget about it. Don't try to do it. So I got the Peloton clip. I got him on voting and, talking about basically and at the end he talks about if Trump didn't run, he wouldn't have all these problems. Again, in alignment with that. Now, I did see some criticisms in the chat with Dana White and the Fertitta brothers and being mobbed up. We've talked about that. We've talked about it many times. Galveston, Texas family. Dana White, even though growing up with the Fertittas and going to school with them, really, I think, entrenched himself in business, not only through combat sports with them, but the fact that a lot of people don't know this is that he was shaken down in Boston at his gym by guys associated with Whitey Bulger, the famous mobster. I believe Bulger was also involved in some weird government. It might have even been the MK Ultra program. Don't quote me on that. But he was an FBI informant also. The Departed, the Jack Nicholson character, loosely based on Whitey Bulger. So Bulger basically was going to have him killed if he didn't pay. Dana didn't have the money. He hopped on a plane to Vegas, and the Fertitta brothers basically protected him. And that was not the beginning of their relationship, but I think the incident that really pushed them forward and together into combat sports. So Whitey Bulger, let's see, MK Ultra. We're gonna do it live. Yeah, that is here it is right there. He was part of the MK Ultra experiments. Now here's the thing. Was Whitey Bulger chosen for that because he fit a certain personality and they saw how far he could take it? Did they enhance that personality, which was psychopathic? I mean, look, mafia is real, guys. And right now, again, they're going to focus on this stuff. Small potatoes compared to the carpet bombing mafia. The people that are out there wheeling and dealing Lockheed Martin and Raytheon style. But FBI digs up 2 upstate New York horse farms for bodies possibly buried by Gambino crime family members 1 week after huge extortion ring linked to garbage trucks was exposed. And look, the Gambino crime family is real. This is Orange County. It's really not even that far upstate. But again, people have this vision that all of New York looks a certain way. So a lot of these guys have been rounded up in a RICO case. I've yet to see what the charges are or the bodies, essentially. Would not be surprised. Here they are right here. If they find some of those bodies. But as of now, we're seeing extortion. And that's it. And you got racketeering. A lot of these guys are going to plead down. They're hoping that, somebody's going to talk. Somebody's going to give something up. And they can unravel it from there. In the case of Trump, in Georgia, what they're doing is they're hoping, they're not hoping, they're getting the result they'd like, which is Sidney Powell and others pleading guilty to lesser charges as lawfare is waged against them indiscriminately. Just as hardcore, doesn't matter what they do, like unless you bend the knee and say you're guilty and you have a struggle session like Jenna Ellis. If I had known. You start crying and renouncing the great leader, maybe that'll be fine. There's steps you can take. Otherwise, you're going to court, and even if you win, which would take a crazy amount of resources because the other side has unlimited resources and unlimited media control, you're going to be ruined. So in that case, they want that outcome. And they also want people to flip and cut deals and say he committed other crimes, right? And that's what they like to do with this RICO case. Okay. And in the case of New York, which is a civil trial right now, they're hoping for perjury traps, just like it was a fishing expedition over at Mar-a-Lago. These are just the facts, Jack. Whether you like them or love them, or have some sort of TDS. And you can't stand them. That's why, White, far from an imperfect being. Hell, guys, we talk about the Ali Act, the current lawsuit. I do a show with John Fitch. But as far as what he's saying this interview, spot on. We also have him talking about fasting. We're going to play that clip. We can play that clip in the first hour. But essentially, you look at a guy who was having all sorts of health issues. And again, this is a totally separate clip. Goes to this guy who's not a doctor. He's off of all his meds now. And he looks incredible. He looks incredible. I mean, look, I get it. You got the money. You can get the supplements. You can get the personal trainer, the whole nine. In order to do the work, you got to do the work, period. No matter where you're at in life. Doesn't matter if you're running around, a multi-billionaire. Who knows how much Dana has, but he's got to have a lot at this point. He talked about his relationship with Ari Emanuel. Not a fan of Ari Emanuel at all. Or his brother Ram. But hey. And that's the other thing. Dana gets it. It is Republican and Democrat bullshit. Doesn't mean anything. But you can't let people control the narrative. The Bud Light thing. And, he only quickly addresses that. But he talks about how, and this is something, if true, I didn't know, that on that day, I guess they gave 2,500 influencers cans with their face on it. Does it excuse their behavior for promoting Mulvaney for Women's Day? And everybody thought it might be like a April Fool's joke, but it wasn't. No, but Anheuser-Busch isn't going anywhere, just like I told you. And Dana White defending Bud Light and walking out with Kid Rock, who's now drinking Bud Light again. Just saying. Are they hypocrites? Sure, but at least they're out in the open with it. We're going to take a break. We're going to thumbs it up. I'm going to show you this 2-minute video of White talking about fasting, and we're going to go from there. We're also going to do the Tuckins and Douglas Mackey. We're probably going to do some of that on the first hour because that is something that doesn't get the copyright strikes, and we have a lot to say about that Douglas Mackey case. And look, I'll be interested to see the way that Tucker covers it, but I'm sure he misses a lot. If you're familiar with what I'm talking about, Mackey goes way deep down the QAnonsence rabbit hole. We'll be back after this word from our sponsor.
Attention Americans, breaking news. Biden's dangerous plan for a digital dollar is underway. Don't be fooled. It won't benefit you. Take action now. The Federal Reserve phased deployment of FedNow began on July 1st, 2023. Be prepared. This may catch many off guard. Your hard-earned assets are in jeopardy. But there's a simple legal tax loophole to opt out of the digital dollar. Reach out to American Alternative Assets for a free wealth protection guide and discover how to safeguard your wealth with gold and silver IRAs against a failing dollar and volatile markets. Visit protectfrombiden.com. This invaluable guide provides precise steps to transfer your IRA or 401k into precious metals without any tax consequences. Be smart. Don't let Biden force you into using the government's new digital dollar. Visit protectfrombiden.com to get your free guide and get started. Again, that's protectfrombiden.com.
And we are back. Look, I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. Right now, I'm still probably about 20 pounds overweight. My muscle mass is garbage compared to where it could be. I do supplement a lot, and I have on and off for years, but especially after I had my medical issues where, and I got all my teeth fixed up. That was another huge step. I had infections in my mouth all the time. Not great for my immune system. Horrible for my blood work. But over the years, I was no fool. And I had taken things like creatine in the beginning to work out. I found nitric oxide, which is talked about way more now, all the way back in the late 90s, believe it or not, when it was first coming out. I read books on it. I thought it was super interesting. And, one of those things I got on early and wasn't on all the time. I take all that stuff on a daily basis. Now, other stuff that I found, it's funny, last night I was doing some Dennis Bushnell hunting. I played that Clay Clark Reawaken America tour, one of the 5 presentations I'm giving, 6th one coming up here in December. And Dennis Bushnell actually turned me on to the NAD Plus. I had no idea about NAD Plus. It also led me to other anti-aging drugs, really anti-inflammatories and supposedly telomere repairs. But resveratrol was another one that I found. And I'm trying to think. I'm not on the last one, and I'd like to be. And it's usually something they've given to diabetics. You do need a prescription for the last one. I got to get that again, because that was actually pretty good. Now, I combine that with the highest grade CoQ10 I can buy, turmeric, fish oil, vitamin D, vitamin C, vitamin B, blah, 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 and many different vitamin Bs. So I take a good handful of supplements in the morning. I felt very good. And my blood work's been very good. I haven't done it in a while. Well over a year. As soon as I started getting the teeth done, that helped a lot. I also take fulvic acid too. My buddy Pat Militich turned me onto that. Not a ton of it. You don't need a ton of it. But I'm on this cocktail stuff. I'm pretty energetic. You guys see me bright and early. You tell me. Am I sluggish Steve? Or am I raring to go Randy? Or somewhere in between? I don't know. Do I like funny names? Yes, I like funny names. Okay. Anyway, I can tell you this. Despite all that, without the combination of really working out, and I go on the dog walks, and right now it's not 2 a day, but it's one a day. It's like 2 miles. And in the beginning, I could feel it in my legs, and now I feel a little better, and that's what it is. It's progression. I am in my mid-40s, 44, road to 50. But the bottom line is I've never felt as good as I do when you get into an actual workout routine. Mind, body, and soul. It all helps, right? And White looks incredible. And he's on that workout routine no matter what other stuff he's on. Now, in this, he talks about this. I think it's 84 hours, so it would be 3.5 day fast. And he goes from looking absolutely incredible to shredded. So we're going to play this clip right here of Dana White. Where is it? Where are you, Dana? There it is. Talking about fasting.
Hey guys, what's up? I just got done fasting for 86 hours. I feel like a superhero. I feel incredible. And I want to tell you how I did it. I love sharing this kind of stuff with you. So when I left the event on Saturday night, I started fasting. And here's a picture of me Saturday night when I left. I just got done this morning, so Saturday to Wednesday, and here are the pictures of me this morning. So I don't know if you've seen this online, but it's called the 7-day water fast. And this doctors have done studies on this, and this thing is legit. It gives you an over 70% chance of not getting cancer, Alzheimer's, and other nasty diseases. And basically, you drink water for 72 hours. Gary likes that better than 7. He says it's safer. And I'm gonna walk you through what the protocol is in this video. So the first 24 hours, all you drink is water. But you can put electrolytes in your water. This is what I use. I'm sure you could use any electrolytes you want, but make sure that there's 0, 0, 0, 0 sugar, 0 carbs, 0 calories. This is all 0, and this stuff tastes really good. This is what I've been using for a while. So the first 24 hours, you drink water, and you can use that in your water. Then the next day, this is the cleanest broth that you can buy. This thing only has 45 calories, less than 1 gram of carbs, and it has like 13 grams of protein. So all it really has is protein and 45 calories. That is the cleanest broth out available. Chefs will tell you that. It's Gary Brecka approved. You can pick this up anywhere. You do this twice a day for the next 2 days. You drink all your water with electrolytes, but you can do the broth twice a day. Bone broth, the bone broth, twice a day for the next 2 days. You're gonna feel incredible. And obviously, you know, you're doing it for the internal, but externally, you get absolutely shredded on this thing.
I don't know. I mean, how hard could it be? 3.5 days drinking water and bone broth, keeping busy. I'd have to pick a decent schedule. Like I know that I'm working, but looks cheap. Obviously some willpower, but pretty easy to stick to that. Maybe we should do it. What do you think, guys? You think we should get bone brothing? I mean, we've got that Alex Jones, the Bone Broth remix, which is always fun to watch. I like to have fun. I've also got, and I do want to play this, and it is a little long, so maybe we'll do that after this segment. But Stuart J. Hooper, who I have on the program quite a bit, does his own thing. I encourage everybody to go follow him on every platform that you can get your hands on. You talk about me and my limited reach. Stuart, I guess, obviously, I've been doing this a very, very long time, but Stuart is a very, very intelligent, academic, speaks well on these subjects, is truly coming from an apolitical perspective. And he's putting out these vlogs that are absolutely fantastic and insightful. So we're going to give him a little airtime today because he deserves it. Guys, I know the premium has been lacking, okay? I've been on this magic box, okay, trying to make things happen. Now, I don't want to jinx it, but let's just say after my niece's volleyball game today, I should be recording something. That means if everything goes well, and depending on how long I have, because it could be one guest, 2 different segments, depending on how long we go. Not mention the guest, but it'll be a fun one. I think you guys will really enjoy it, especially if you've been watching the show this week. Maybe give you a hint of who we're going to have. It is a returning guest. I don't want everybody to get all hyped up that I've got some super secret squirrel guest we haven't had before, but we are going to have a returning guest, and it'll be a fun conversation. So if you do want to support the broadcast, redvoicemedia.com/uncensored, redvoicemedia.com/uncensored. Right now, there's a prize out there. They're going to have a drawing for a firearm. If you're into that sort of thing, everybody likes free stuff. And if you're a Second Amendment guy, and not only a Second Amendment guy or gal out there, and you're looking for something new, I'll be honest. Just like I know that cars exist, and I have comprehended the basics of cars and how they operate and can operate one, just as I can a gun, I'm pretty much car-tarded, and I'm a little bit gun-tarded as well. The basics, and I don't think that I'm John McClane or John Wick or any other John that dance shoots and is in action films. And I'm not Ronnie Race-a-Lot either, okay? I get what they do. I appreciate them for what they are. But if you're into that sort of thing, that competition is out there, redvoicemedia.com/uncensored. Now, I've also got some clips that I want to go over in the second hour with myself and Andrew Huff. They're pretty short. They're both under a minute. It's not really even myself. You're just going to hear Andrew G. Huff talk about things that we can't talk about in the first hour. So that'll be second hour. Okay. We are going to show this clip really quickly because when we talk about digital censorship, and a lot of people get upset at me, oh, you're self-censoring. Hey, second hour is free over at rvmrumble.com. We're trying to bring just the random cat video people over here. We wish... Again, we wish that things like this of 3.6 thousand thumbs up over at YouTube were possible. This video won't get it might get 3,600 views. Maybe, kind of, sort of, probably not. I don't know. I just, at this point, it's horrible, but you use what you got. You use the tools you have. That's the only way. You don't give up. You don't bend the knee. You don't say it's okay. And then you're saying, well, you are bending. No, I'm telling like the Peter Daszak stuff. Okay? We're finally going to show the Peter Daszak video of him being confronted in D.C. before his closed-door transcribed testimony that no one sent me, by the way. We'll do it live. We'll look for that as well. We're going to play that clip in the second hour. It's just the way, these are the rules of the game, I guess. And you're bobbing, you're weaving, but I'm not going to be compromised. I'm not going to just not talk about stuff that's important. So, I mean, Andrew Huff shouldn't just be in a closed door session. He should be in an open hearing. And then everything he says should finally make mainstream media and front page news, and everybody can go, wow, that's horrible. And you know who else is horrible? Let me tell you, Nikki Haley. That's who's horrible.
When I get into office, the first thing we have to do, social media accounts, social media companies, they have to show America their algorithms. Let us see why they're pushing what they're pushing. The second thing is every person on social media should be verified.
So really the first thing is we want track trace database of everybody and all their movements and tie it to them digitally. That's all that is, because we're not getting anybody's algorithm. That's bullshit. That's the Trojan horse lie that gets her authoritarian comment in the door.
By their name. That's, first of all, it's a national security threat. When you do that, all of a sudden people have to stand by what they say, and it gets rid of the Russian bots, the Iranian bots, and the Chinese bots.
And that's why the Mackey thing is so important. And we'll probably do that in the final segment in the first hour with the Tuckins. Because the truth of the matter is, when you're sitting here talking about all those foreign bots, no, let's talk about the government bots in our country. Then let's talk about what? The NGO bots. All right. And then let's talk about why Mackey's network was so successful. It's because they used botting as well and networking. There were no Russian bots to get their message out there. We're going to take a word from our sponsor, and we're going to come on back, and we're going to do what? We're going to do a little bit of Stuart J. Hooper on Israel and Hamas.
When I invented MyPillow, my passion was to help each and every one of you. And 20 years later, all of your support is what keeps us going. Because of you, we've been able to create thousands of USA jobs and help millions get the best sleep ever. To thank you, my employees and I are bringing you a limited edition MyPillow. The Giza Elegance MyPillow is made with my patented adjustable fill, the most amazing cotton, and a 2-inch pipe gusset. It has 4 custom loft levels, machine washable and dryable, and you get my 60-day money-back guarantee and 10-year warranty.
Go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get your limited edition 20th anniversary MyPillow queen size. Retails for $69.98, now only $19.98. That's right, get a queen size MyPillow for only $19.98.
From all of us here at MyPillow,
Thanks, America!
And of course, why would it work? See, I'm smiling with you because that's how we do it now. Why would it work? There's this problem, and in fact, with the Tuckins over here, just so everybody knows, when we get to the Tuckins, and now we're gonna have to do it live. You have to play it through this because when you rip these things, all of a sudden they don't want to work right and they have no audio. So now we got to go back to Jason Bermas, not to the Dana White search. Let's just scroll it on up and go to home and this. And then we got to go to the post itself. Thumbs it up, subscribe, and share. Second hour, you'll get to see Peter Daszak. Someone showed up? Someone showed up, Daszak? Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, buddy. It's too bad for you. Geez, how far down is this? It can't be that far down. Did we already pass it? No. Maybe we did already. There it is right here. Fantastic. I was going to say, it's only from a few days ago. Here it is. And again, he gives it. This is an account to follow. Stuart J. Hooper. All right, let's give him the floor.
Over the past 5 weeks, Israel has conducted a military operation in Gaza that has now killed over 10,000 people, 4,500 of which are children, so certainly not enemy combatants. And this operation has also now reportedly hit over 250 healthcare facilities and displaced over 1.5 million people. This is a humanitarian disaster on a scale that the world has not seen in a tremendous amount of time. And unfortunately, we have Israeli officials with rhetoric over the past week that is far beyond explosive. These are statements that we're going to look at here, which are quite frankly unbelievable that anyone in government could actually say something like this, especially a government that claims to be a democracy. And over the past week also, there's been a shift in the rhetoric of Israeli officials in media interviews that they have been giving across Western media outlets, and I've been watching these from a variety of different angles, where they have been trying to link this conflict that Israel is now involved in with World War II, and saying that this is essentially Israel's World War II, that this is their good versus evil battle, and these black and white lines in what happened. They're trying to apply all of this to what's going on right now in the Middle East. And the question is then, well, does that really apply or does it not? But when you have government officials saying things like Netanyahu's Minister of Jerusalem Affairs and its Heritage Minister, so the minister in the Israeli government responsible for Jerusalem's heritage, said not only are there no non-combatants in Gaza, meaning that everybody is a legitimate target, but that nuclear weapons are, quote, an option to be used. Now, the Western world is sitting back for the most part with a relatively hands-off approach, politically speaking, that is refusing to condemn this, that is refusing to say that, you know what, a ceasefire might be required. A ceasefire might be the only thing that stops this from escalating into a regional, if not global, conflict, something that I've warned about here repeatedly since covering these events. But that's not all. We have another Israeli government official who wrote on X, quote, "Erase Gaza from the face of the earth. Let the Gazan monsters rush to the southern border and flee into Egypt or die." Now, it's hard to even know where to take this discussion after quoting something like that. But suffice it to say that if you have people in your government that are saying things like that, you might want to get them out of the government, because they are people that evidently cannot be trusted with the use of military force in any legitimate way whatsoever. Now, Netanyahu did at least suspend this Jerusalem Affairs and Heritage Minister, but Netanyahu himself has been citing Bible verses to justify what Israel is currently doing in Israel. Now, I'm sorry for those of you out there that may be more religious than others, but when you're citing Bible verses to justify your foreign policy decisions, for me, that is when you have immediately disqualified yourself from any position in any legitimate government on the face of the earth. Now, Israel did suffer a terrorist attack. Israel did suffer a horrendous event that was brought upon it by Hamas. And I'm certainly not saying that Israel shouldn't defend itself. It should. And it should go after the people that were responsible for what happened. It should not collectively punish over 2 million people with a bombing campaign that is indiscriminately destroying entire cities and towns and villages and creating untold human suffering. Because this is a complete disaster, and it's something that the world just does not need. I'm Stuart Hooper. I'm a lecturer in international politics, political science. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Follow me on X if you are watching there. I'm posting full videos on X and YouTube. Really focusing on X right now, though. Love this platform. It's growing. Thank you all for the support out there. And I'm trying to approach this, as with all geopolitical issues, from a very critical angle. I'm not really...
And he is. I mean, what can you disagree with that he just... That's why I gave him the floor that long. We're going to give him the floor even longer than that. everything he said there is correct. Like, he quoted the individuals. He gave Netanyahu credit for getting rid of this guy, but then he also brought up the fact that and I'm not a fan of, we are benefiting from one thing, and that's the attacks of 9/11. Actually quoted saying that. Put it in my film. Okay? Not a fan of that. Not a fan of, what was done there to those people over the last few years. When I say those people, I mean the Israeli people through their government and their certificates and their movement. Not a big fan of them having, all those medical records, bragging about it and say, you know what, how about a genetic database next? Not a fan of that. Hooper, nailing it. He talks about the collective punishment. Also, when you have this type of rhetoric, how are you going to get peace and a ceasefire? Like, that's what I want, peace. I want less dead people.
Be concerned with taking sides in issues like this, because what often happens and what we're seeing here is that everybody just really ends up in the wrong when you pursue militarism. And the only winners that come out on top here are members of the military-industrial complex. And if you go and look at the big five in the military-industrial complex, your Northrop Grummans, your Boeings, your Lockheed Martins, these players, for the most part, their stock price has been doing really well over the past month. Why do you think that is? Because they're really happy and excited about the prospect of selling more bombs, more tanks, more jets, more missiles into these conflicts. These are the only people that win during these events. Now, like I mentioned, Israel has been referencing over the past week, again and again, that this is its World War II moment, that there are similarities to World War II here, and they are trying to bring up this really black and white depiction of World War II that we are sold in the Western world. That this was a fight of good versus evil. Now, yes, Hitler and the Nazis were absolutely evil. And if you want to point to one force on Earth that was perhaps purely evil in nature, if you want to go down that black and white dichotomous worldview, I think the Nazis pretty much fit that mold perfectly. But was the Allied response to Nazism, to Hitler's invasion of Western Europe, to the Japanese imperial forces in Asia, was that brilliant? Was that perfect? Was that without error? Was that without collateral damage? Absolutely not. Just look at what happened during World War II, the firebombing of German cities, Dresden in particular. If you go and read about what actually happened in those German cities to those people that were firebombed, you will read stories of people that dived into the rivers in these cities to try to escape from the raging fires around them, who were boiled alive in the rivers of these German cities that were firebombed. Innocent civilians that were completely destroyed, completely decimated by this firebombing. And exactly the same thing also happened in Japan, long before the United States dropped not one, but two nuclear bombs on two Japanese cities, killing hundreds of thousands of people. And then after World War II, of course, we move into the Cold War and Korea and Vietnam and Africa and basically every continent on the planet, with military escalations and disasters on all sides, military coups, assassinations, military disasters the world over. And again, we're sold this view that this was just good versus evil. War is never good versus evil. War is always the worst possible outcome that we can reach as human beings. Warfare is the ultimate failure of politics. It's the ultimate failure of human potential to reason, to think things through, to come to a conclusion that has compromise as its foundation. It's just an abdication of human duty to civilization. So this is my overall point when it comes to what Israel is currently doing. Israel has thrown its international image completely under the bus. I was just watching a clip of the Iranian president delivering a speech with a bunch of the other Arab nations throughout the Middle East, and he was calling for Islamic unity. Yes, Iran, Saudi Arabia, traditional enemies, they were already coming closer together earlier this year, and now he's calling for the whole Middle East to unite against Israel. And this sure is looking like it could be a good justification for them to do that. And what does that mean for Israel? Nothing good. As I mentioned, Israel suffered a tremendous human disaster. What Israel went through on October the 7th, I can't imagine being there. I can't imagine going through that. I can't imagine that happening to people that I know, people that I care about. It was horrific. But the response that they have chosen to unleash here is going to have consequences that reverberate not throughout the region, but the entire world for literally generations to come. I saw a post earlier on X a couple of days ago, and someone was saying that, yeah, this is going to be a big problem for Israel and the next generation of Palestinians. The next generation? The next one generation? No. This is going to be a problem for Israel for 50, 60, 70, 100 years, perhaps the rest of Israel's existence.
We're going to stop it there. There's actually plenty more. It goes on for another 4.5 minutes, but we got to take a break. When we come back, I do want to play some of this Mackey Tucker interview. In the second hour, we're going to do Dana White on the Theo Vaughn show, some of those clips that I think are extremely important. Thumbs it up, subscribe, and share. Check out Stuart J. Hooper stuff. He's absolutely incredible. We really love him over here. And we'll be back after this word from our sponsor.
We interrupt today's programming to bring unfortunate news. Biden's dangerous plan for a digital dollar is underway. Don't be fooled. It won't benefit you. So take action now. The Federal Reserve's phased deployment of FedNow began on July 1st, 2023. Be prepared. This may catch many off guard and put your hard-earned assets in jeopardy. But here's the good news. There's a simple legal tax loophole to opt out of the digital dollar. Speak to someone at American Alternative Assets for a free wealth protection guide and discover how to safeguard your wealth with gold and silver IRAs against a failing dollar and volatile markets. Dial 833, the number 2 USA Gold. Yes, call now, 833-287-2465. This invaluable guide provides precise steps to transfer your IRA or 401k into precious metals without any tax consequences. Don't let Biden force you into using the government's new digital dollar. Call 833, the number 2 USA Gold. Yes, call now, 833-287-2465. Act swiftly, 833-287-2465.
Thumbs it up, subscribe, and share no matter where you're watching. Let's get 100 thumbs up on the platforms, everybody. I could really use your help on that. I do want to remind everybody that after this final segment in the first hour, you get what? The second hour, uncensored and for free over at RVMRumble.com. Hard to believe, but it's already Thursday. Time flies. I mean, it's like boom, 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 boom. Just keeps moving forward. Keeps on moving forward. Now, I want to talk a little bit about this Cue It Up before we really get to it, okay? Douglas Mackey was part of a online trolling group that was pro-Trump and MAGA, period. Let's start there. And they were highly effective. Now, a lot of the information that they put out was true. A lot of it was completely fake. A lot of it was shit posting fun. These people got off on that sort of thing. Okay? And that was just an admission. The bottom line is they were super effective. And that's why they were went after. Because there's plenty of people anonymously on the internet playing jokes, doing this sort of thing, period. Okay? And Mackey is about to do prison time. Now, they're going to focus on the Hillary Clinton meme. And that is only a small portion of this. I'm interested to see if they actually talk about the fact that Microchip testified against him, another one of these shit posters, under the guise of Microchip without him really being able to face his accusers. Now, this has 51 million views. It's a week old. 51 million views. So, this sets the tone for the counter narrative to what the mainstream media has said about him. But is anybody getting it right? And I like the Tuckins. And we're not going to be able to play the whole thing. But come on, man. Come on. Let's see what we got.
If someone had told you even 10 years ago that you could be indicted by the federal government and go to prison for 10 years for making fun of Hillary Clinton on social media, you would not have believed it. It's a free country. We have free speech. But it turns out not only is that possible, it has likely become much more common.
And they're trying to make things like this be more common to send a chilling effect, but I'm going to do it right now. BuzzFeed, okay, helps Trump win Twitter. Win Twitter. Okay, never mind the Russians, meet the bot king who helps Trump win Twitter. It's not us, not Russians, and we're not going to stop. And this is, and remember, this guy right here is Microchip, and he's some model with an ice cream cone. They put a MAGA hat on him. And Mackey was Ricky Vaughn. He was the Charlie Sheen character from the classic Major League, right? Let's Mackey Ricky Vaughn. And look, great film as a child. Let's see what we got. Yeah. And this was the coverage on the guy. Now Mackey, Vaughn, they were incorporated with a ton of other people. And again, these bot accounts, and I mean, here's Microchip right here. Boom. Unicorn Root is like the only one that even really reported much on this. There it is. Microchip services in white supremacist election interference trial. See, and that's the thing. They're framing it all about white supremacy. White supremacy. There's another one. Microchip had so many of these accounts. And remember, Microchip claims to be one of the original starters with James Brower, a.k.a. Dreamcatcher, of the QAnon sense. Right? And Brower said he did it, then recanted that he did it. Same with DeFango. A bunch of sketchy sketch fests. Let's see if any of that is brought up with the Tuckins. I would assume not.
Because the actual war is over information. One of its first casualties is a man called Doug Mackey, who during the 2016 election made fun of Hillary Clinton on Twitter. And then a few years later found himself the subject of a federal raid, an indictment, and then a conviction. It's a shocking story. It's hard to believe it's happening in this country, but it is. And to prove it, Doug Mackey joins us now.
But again, that's not why he's going to jail. Okay? Like that's just a small part of the trial. You can read the transcripts. He's going to jail because they were effective, and they were effective with a bot network via a guy who turned over FBI's evidence. That's what it is. It wasn't just that meme. Again, that's the media focus. All right?
Doug, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you, Tucker.
So I've never even seen you in person before. You have not, I don't think, spoken about this publicly, or at least very often, since it happened. So give us just a quick background on who you are. I read, I think, in BuzzFeed that you were a dangerous white nationalist militant. Are you?
No, not at all.
You don't seem it. Where are you from?
I grew up in Vermont.
In Vermont?
Yes.
Not a hotbed of white nationalist militancy. And where'd you go to college? What were you doing during the 2016 election, et cetera?
I graduated from Middlebury College, which
Yes.
is also in Vermont.
Yep.
And then I moved to New York. I lived there about 6 years. That's where I was at the time of the election, the 2016 election.
What were you doing?
So I had just left my job, but I was previously an economic researcher.
So first, like a Wall Street firm or something like that?
Something like that, corporate America.
Yes. So what were you doing during the 2016 election?
So I was posting a lot of stuff on Twitter under a pseudonym about the election.
What kind of stuff?
Pro-Trump memes, jokes, all kinds of links, that kind of thing.
Why were you doing that?
Just purely out of passion.
Oh, so you like Trump?
I like Trump, that's right.
Why?
I thought he was a breath of fresh air for the country. I think that his analysis of the problems with the country, with the ruling class of the country, I liked what he was saying, and I thought he had a positive vision for the country.
Where were you politically before the 2016 election?
I was sort of conservative. Previously, I was sort of libertarian, but earlier in my life, I was sort of apolitical.
So you weren't a lifelong political activist?
No.
But you got excited about Trump and you decided to support him on social media. At the time, did you think that was your constitutional right?
Yes, absolutely.
And that's the other thing. It still is your constitutional right. Now, the things that they've charged him with and the fraud, obviously they're overextending the law. But you also have to look at the fraud aspect of creating a lot of the profiles that were used as bots. There is some questionability whether what Microchip or Mackey or others that had hundreds, if not thousands of accounts over this time period, did break any laws when doing so. I'm just pointing that out. And I'm not saying this guy should go to prison. But again, they're not really telling you the actual story right now. This is baseline stuff. Hey, where are you from? Okay, all right. You like Trump? I like Trump. Hey.
Why'd you think that?
Well, I thought that this was America. I thought that we had a First Amendment, due process rights, that we could criticize people in our ruling class.
It looks like you thought wrong. So let's get specific about what you did, the crimes, the felonies that you committed on Twitter. I want to put this up. You posted this on Twitter. This is a meme. It says, "Save time, avoid the line, vote from home." And it's got a picture of Hillary Clinton. Text Hillary to this number. Did you make this meme?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you didn't create this?
No.
Where'd it come from?
I found it on 4chan.
Okay, so it was floating around the internet.
Yeah, these kind of memes were floating all over the place.
And you posted it on Twitter. What was the point of that?
Well, pardon my French, but it was called a shitpost.
Yeah.
We talked about this a lot at the trial. I testified. Just sort of a joke, rile up everybody, muddy the waters, and mostly just because I thought my audience would find it funny.
Did they?
Yeah, absolutely.
I find it hilarious. You're obviously from Northern New England. You have a very dry sense of humor.
Very dry.
Yeah, I noticed that. I noticed that. So, did you get a sense when you posted that that was a crime or that it would be perceived as a crime?
No, absolutely not.
So we have to, and I want to play this. This is from Hillary Clinton. This is from this April, so long after you were indicted. Long after you went on trial, and this is Hillary Clinton describing that meme.
There was just a trial in Brooklyn where a guy who had been one of the main, I guess he was one of the main people running memes against me in 2016.
Man, she's got a very Palpatine look at this one. I mean, that's some Emperor Palpatine shit right here. Let's do it live. Because we have to. And plus, I mean, don't get me wrong. Mackey, I mean, not gonna win any modeling awards. No offense, Mr. Mackey, but Emperor Palpatine. You tell me. Emperor Palpatine. I mean, there it is right there. Look, I mean, come on. Dead ringer. I mean, not for that, but, oh, come on. Where are we? Right here. I mean, she's got the Palpatine look down. Like, maybe we need a sitting Palpatine. Let's get him sitting. That's what we need. Sitting Palpatine. There we go. Now we're talking. Now we've really got right there. Okay, Hill Dog. But
Yeah. He went from what you could consider free speech. I mean, both Nancy and I have pretty thick skins. People say all kinds of things about us. But he went from that to running a very deliberate effort to mislead people about where and how to vote. Yeah. So it went from speech to action meant to subvert the election because thousands of people who they targeted through their algorithms. Oh, I can text my vote for Hillary Clinton.
So that's ridiculous. No, they went after him because all the Russian bots they were saying influenced the election, which was imagination land, was actually these guys. They were the sophisticated network, and they were successful in their campaigns. We got to take one more break. Then we're going second hour over at rvmrumble.com. We'll come back one more time over on YouTube to let you know about it because that's what we do here after this word from our sponsor.
If you're like me and you want to be prepared for the unexpected,
that's where the wellness company's emergency medical kit comes
over
in.
40% of Americans say that they would avoid a doctor or a hospital unless it was a catastrophic situation.
Medical emergency kits with...
The kit contains 8 potentially life-saving medications for you to keep on hand in the event of natural disasters, supply chain shortages, medical emergencies, or like an apocalyptic situation. These are the actual medications that you would need in the event of certain situations. So they've got emergency antibiotics, antivirals, antiparasitics.
All right, folks, we're about to do it. We're about to go over to rvmrumble.com, rvmrumble.com. Remember, you can support the broadcast with redvoicemedia.com/uncensored, redvoicemedia.com/uncensored. Had a couple people sign up yesterday. I always do appreciate that. You can try it out for $1 for the first week, $10 a month, or lock it in for the full year. Really helps support me for $100, and that gets you $20 off. And look, again, I know I've been really busy. I'm still going to be busy over the next month or so. I'm traveling. I got a lot to do. But again, hopefully this interview actually happens this afternoon and you'll get something on Friday. Hopefully you like. YouTube, we're going to let you go. We're going to go back to the Tuckins and Mackey. We're going to delve into Dana White, telling it like it is on the Theo Vaughn Show. We're going to show you some Huff stuff. Dazik gets confronted. All that in this second hour. So